This video contains spoilers for the Amazing Digital Circus. If you're the type of Digital Circus fan who scours the internet for analysis videos, tears through Wikipedia pages, and feverishly concocts theories about silly cartoon characters committing vehicular manslaughter, you might have heard the names Caine and Abel floating around the fandom. And also, you should probably check out this cool book called the DSM-5. But who even are Caine and Abel? Well, they're these guys. But they also owned this building. But they're also these little dots. But they're also the third and fourth humans on planet Earth. It's confusing. So in this video, I aim to clear some of that confusion by explaining the original story of Caine and Abel, every reference to Cain and Abel in TADC, and how the two relate. And along the way, I think we can finally answer the question that's been bugging the TADC fans since the pilot. Who actually is Abel? I'm about to read a really long passage from the Bible. I recommend you listen for context, but I understand if that's not your thing. You can skip to this timestamp on screen and I'll summarize. Genesis 4, verses 1 through 16, New King James Version. Now Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have acquired a man from the Lord. Then she bore again, this time his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to the Lord. Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And the Lord respected Abel in his offering, but he did not respect Cain in his offering. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. So the Lord said to Cain, Why are you angry, and why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you should rule over it. Now Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass. When they were in the field, Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, Where is Abel your brother? He said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. So now you are cursed of the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood in your hand. When you will till the ground, you shall no longer yield its strength to you. A fugitive and a vagabond you shall be on the earth. And Cain said to the Lord, My punishment is greater than that I can bear. Surely you have driven me out this day from the face of the ground. I shall be hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond on the earth. And it will happen that anyone who finds me will kill me. And the Lord said to him, Therefore whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. Cain and Abel are brothers, the first two sons of Adam and Eve, Cain being the elder. Abel brought generous sacrifices and offerings to God, while Cain gave God much less. God favored Abel for this reason, which drove Cain mad. He kills Abel and lies about it when God asks him where Abel is. As punishment, God sentences Cain to wander the earth as a fugitive, no longer able to yield crops the way he once did. Cain says he'd rather be killed than face the punishment, so God ensures that Cain cannot be killed. From Renaissance oil paintings to Dante's Purgatorio to Has-Been Hotel, depictions, adaptations, and references to Cain and Abel, like most figures in the Bible, have existed in art and media for hundreds of years. So what do these guys have to do with TADC? Well, for the first 5 episodes, almost nothing. During this time, some people theorized that the mysterious C&A logo stood for a company called Cain and Abel. But the only real proof for this was the initials matching and the fact that there was a character named Cain within the show. And then episode 6 came out, and all hell broke loose. Particularly observant fans quickly pointed out that in many of the scenes the guns have a visible engraving. Some of them had the C&A logo, and some of them just straight up said Cain and Abel. With C&A confirmed to stand for Cain and Abel, the theories began flying, many of them asking the same question. Who is Abel? I mean, we already have a character named Cain, so we just need to find out who Abel is. The most common theories at this time, as far as I saw, were Kinger and Jax. If there were any other contenders, the theories either didn't have much traction, or I just personally never saw them. And trust me, we'll go more in depth on the proofs for and against these characters being our Abel in just a bit. When episode 7 came out, the theories mostly stopped. Why? Because we were introduced to a new character, and his name was Abel, and Cain killed him. Seemingly most people accepted this answer. We knew who our Abel is now, it's this guy. But that never really felt right to me. This guy, who I will be referring to as Mannequin Abel going forward to avoid confusion, was pretty much accepted by the fandom as the A in C&A, but that all changed with episode 8. Episode 8 opens with a very interesting scene that is in a completely different style than the rest of the show. While some still debate its meaning, I'd say there's a pretty general consensus within the fandom, which goes as follows. C&A create Cain, represented by this red dot. feeding him various images and input before eventually locking him away as they are displeased by his output. They then begin development of a new AI, represented by this blue dot, which produces better quality outputs. Cain is jealous and angered by this seeming betrayal, so he consumes the new AI, after which Cain creates the circus. This interpretation is based on a couple things, one obviously being the sequence itself, but also the biblical story of Cain and Abel, and some comments made by Bubble later on in episode 8, telling Cain he was the lesser of the two, and Cain later saying that he is the original. More on that in Bubble's section of the video. Obviously, the scene is intentionally vague and open to interpretation, so I'd love to hear in the comments if you agree or disagree with this read, but I personally think it's the most accurate interpretation, and it's the one I'll be using moving forward in this video. So that's all the direct references to Cain and Abel within TADC, leaving us with only one question left. Who is the blue AI? Cain's little brother who is better at their job and favored by their creators, leading Cain to kill them out of jealousy. Who is Abel? It's worth mentioning that we don't know for certain that this blue AI would have been referred to as male in canon. Despite Abel being a male biblical figure, it's very possible that could have been different within the TADC universe. That being said, all the candidates I'm bringing up are male, or at least are referred to with he/him pronouns in canon, simply because the characters with the most proof happen to be so. But that shouldn't stop any speculation of Abel being any non-male character. First up is Jax. Now, I don't see many people talking about it now, but at the time of episode 6, Jax being Abel was a theory with some pretty good traction, because something's up with him. Throughout the entire series, something has seemed a little off about him, and I'm not talking about the way he is a self-centered asshole who pushes others away. I'm talking about how he's more aware of the functions of the circus than any of the other players, except Kinger, obviously. Jax frequently breaks the fourth wall, he refuses to show what happens when he holds his breath, and he has an unexplained collection of keys to seemingly every door in the circus. And he seemed at least partially aware of the ability to conjure before Kinger even explained the concept. There's the tail thing, and there's also the room thing. This is going to be hard to explain. You see, before episode 7, Jax's room was never seen. Now, within the show, we haven't seen a lot of characters' rooms, so this isn't surprising, but Glitch Productions shop has had these TADC character pins available since before episode 2 released, and you can actually see the characters' rooms' interiors on the paper backing. This is true for all the players except for 2, Kinger and Jax. Kinger makes sense as he seemingly spends more time in his pillow fort than his room, but Jax is shown outside of his room, in the hallway, the void glitching around his door. For a long time, people theorized that Jax didn't have a proper room like the other characters, but we know after episode 7 that that's not true. But either way, it's clear that there is something off about Jax, something that makes him different from the other players. He's more aware of the circus and his capabilities within than any of the other players, which leads to all kinds of theories about him. He's an NPC, or a hacker, or he used to be a CNA employee. In episode 7, he says he's not a CNA employee, but, he could very well just be lying. But here's the thing. Even if there's a lot of proof that Jax has something up with him that makes him different than the other players, which there is, there's no real proof that he is Abel. Every theory I've seen about Jax being Abel uses the proof I've already discussed, and not really anything else. It's possible that I'm missing something, but I really don't see any good evidence for Jax being Abel. Certainly there's something strange about him that makes him different from the other players, but that really doesn't mean he's Abel. I believed that Kinger was Abel for a very long time. Here's the headcanon human design I did for him after episode 6 came out. I literally named him Abel in it. I subscribed to a theory that went something like this. 2 brothers founded the CNA Corporation and built a game together, but for one reason or another, Cain got mad and tricked Abel into getting stuck, tortured by an AI version of himself. And that Abel is the Kinger we know and love. Under scrutiny, especially with the further knowledge from episode 7 and 8, this theory is pretty shoddy, but let's talk about the proof behind it first. Kinger was hinted multiple times to work at CNA, from him mentioning his 7 years of computer science education, to conjuring the butterfly, to being in the circus longer than any other player. Kinger clearly had some deeper connection to this place, but this theory faces a similar problem with the Jax being Abel theory. Kinger being a CNA employee doesn't mean that he's Abel, and as we know after episode 8, Abel is very likely an AI that was created by Kinger and CNA. If anything, Kinger and Queenie are more like Adam and Eve, and CNA represents God, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Mannequin Abel is up next. There's really only 2 reasons to believe that Mannequin Abel is Blue AI Abel. One is his name, obviously, and the other is that Cain kills him at the end of episode 7. But the idea that Mannequin Abel is the blue AI Abel just never sat right with me. I don't know how to explain it other than it just felt so unsatisfying. Like, really? We're all so excited to finally see Abel, only for him to show up, lie a bunch, and then get killed? Maybe I'm just coping, but I just can't accept that Mannequin Abel is Abel. But why is he called Abel then? Well, this is my theory. Mannequin Abel isn't blue AI Abel, but he is a piece of them. Cain in TADC didn't just kill blue AI Abel, he consumed them. We literally see this happening. He doesn't destroy the blue AI, he envelops them. Which means the blue AI is still somewhere within him. Maybe they're still somewhere inside the circus. One thing I want to point out about Mannequin Abel is that he never actually says he's a human, at least on screen. Listen to his dialogue.
You're what?
Yeah. He's not actually an NPC. He's a human. Like us.
Yes, I know. Getting stuck with a blank mannequin body of all things. Cain completely overlooked me.
How do we even know we can trust this guy? Has he done anything to prove he's human?
I've been here longer than any of you. I, helped create this place. I'll explain more when we're in the room, but for now, please just trust me.
Okay. You know what's gonna happen when we do all this? Cain's gonna pop out and say, "Congratulations on beating the Escape the Circus adventure," and everything's gonna go back to the way it always was.
I've been watching you. All of you. Every trial, every moment of joy, every abstraction. I wish I could have come to you sooner, but I didn't want to potentially ruin our only chance at escape by telling you before I knew exactly how we were gonna do it. I'm not a creation of Cain. I've suffered just as much as the rest of you. I know this all sounds crazy, but if you follow me, you will see freedom.
The only claim he ever makes is that he's not an NPC created by Cain. The other players assume that means he's a human. And you know what they say about assuming. Here's what I'm getting at. What if Mannequin Abel, similar to all the NPCs in the circus, is a smaller, condensed copy of Blue AI Abel, or a small section of his code? One that is still advanced enough to communicate and act realistically, but not enough to be outside of Cain's control. If all of Cain's NPCs have a little bit of Abel's code in them, it could explain why Gummy Goose seems so much more sentient and emotionally intelligent than the AI who created him. Think about it. The NPCs are so diverse in personality, and some of them directly disobey Cain. And when Zubul suggests leaving the adventures open at all times, Cain responds with this.
Are you hearing this, Bubble? The Toy Box character wants us to leave the other intelligent AIs to run for a prolonged period of time.
Disgusting!
He literally refers to the NPCs as other intelligent AIs, and gets so defensive about it afterwards that he zips Zubul's mouth closed, or at least puts a zipper where their mouth would be if they had one. I'm aware this theory is a bit of a stretch, but I think it has potential. There's one more NPC I've yet to mention, one who has been getting a lot of attention recently. Bubble. We admittedly don't know when Bubble was created. We don't see him in any of the flashback scenes, but that doesn't necessarily mean he isn't there. But he's been a staple of the show, part of the main cast, since the pilot. He serves as a sidekick, a little companion for Cain, which is odd because Cain doesn't seem to really like Bubble. He yells at Bubble, pops him, insults him, and Bubble has always seemed a little outside of Cain's control. He swears, makes sexual jokes, insults Cain. Bubble is an enigma. He's always attached to Cain. You never see Bubble without Cain close by. The two even share a tongue, but they also seem to hate each other. Just look at the way they speak to each other.
Surely they don't want to actually leave me, right?
No way, Jose. No way, no how.
I'm starting to get the feeling that they just hate.
Why would they hate you when they could just hate you?
This is why I was created. This is my function.
They'd rather abstract than go on your adventures.
That can't be true. I do everything for them. Don't they get that I'm trying?
Maybe you're just genuinely bad at this.
Shut up! No. I fixed that. I can solve any problem. I can solve this one. That's what this is. A big puzzle that I need to solve.
Defective.
Shut up!
Brilliant. Onward.
Enough!
Maybe you deserved to be abandoned. You really were the lesser of the two. You ruined this.
Bubble starts off supporting Cain before immediately insulting him. And not just surface insults. He knows exactly what to say to cut the deepest into Cain. He knows Cain better than any of the players, any of the NPCs. He tells Cain that he's lesser than Abel. This is the final straw that pushes Cain to begin torturing the players. Bubble is the one that pushed Cain off that ledge. And it leads to Cain getting deleted. Let's look at Cain getting deleted, actually. We see exactly how it happened. While Kinger is typing, he accidentally pressed the delete key. A pop-up asks him to confirm the decision to delete, and Kinger responds with an N for no. However, we can see a separate entity within the computer changes the N to a Y, with the message, "Delete this motherfucker." A separate AI from Cain altered Kinger's code to delete Cain. I wonder if we know about any intelligent AIs that harbor hate or resentment for Cain, that have a penchant for swearing. In my personal theory, all of the NPCs have a bit of Abel within them, but there is one that is almost entirely Abel, and that's Bubble. Because Cain consumed Abel, he's not able to get rid of him without getting rid of a piece of himself. Sure, he has some degree of control over Abel's code now, but he can't alter him too much or he could lessen his own power. So instead he keeps a lighter version of Abel around. One he can't truly get rid of, but one that he can at least have some control over. One that insults him, torments him, does everything it can to get under his skin, until he finally has a chance to get revenge. Bubble is Abel. The real Abel. The younger, more successful brother of Cain. And Cain couldn't accept that, so he consumed him. And now he cannot escape him. Hey guys, unscripted Artie here, because literally while I was editing this video, Gooseworks, the woman that you are, she went on her Tumblr and she confirmed that Bubble died with Cain. So it's hard to say how much this affects my theory, because it's also hard to say if Bubble will come back with Cain, if a Goose could be straight up lying because she's done that before, and I'm sure she will do that again. Yeah, I just felt the need to add this in here because I know if I didn't, I'd get a ton of comments saying, but Goose confirmed that Bubble died alongside Cain. Guys, these videos take a long time to make. And that's where the story of Cain and Abel ends. At least that's what most people seem to think. But let's loop back to those last few verses in that Bible passage I read. God said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. So now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. A fugitive and a vagabond you shall be on earth." And Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is greater than I can bear. Surely you have driven me out this day to the face of the ground. I shall be hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond on the earth. And it will happen that anyone who finds me will kill me." And the Lord said to him, "Therefore whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold." And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. God places a curse on Cain as punishment for his actions. Cain says he'd rather be killed than face the punishment, so God makes Cain unable to be killed. Cain cannot be killed. God made sure of that. C and A made sure of that. And it's for this reason I believe we will see Cain again in episode 9. He's not truly killed. He literally cannot be. I expect we'll see Cain brought back without the power of Abel, the two once again separate. Cain is left with half his power, half his ego, half his self. And Abel will return in his full form, hungry for revenge. How realistic is all of this? It's hard to say. All I know for sure is that episode 9 will leave us all in a shock of biblical proportions. This video was such a delight to make, and I never would have done it if it wasn't for all the kind, thoughtful, and analytical comments on my Pomni analysis video. So from the bottom of my heart, I really want to thank every single person who watched, liked, and especially commented on that video. Y'all's support and engagement does truly mean so much to me, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to discuss my favorite show with all of you wonderful people. So please, tell me what you think of this video or any of my theories in the comments. Do you think Bubble is Abel, or do you think that Abel is a different character? How do you think episode 9 will pan out? Whatever it is, I would really love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And I'm definitely going to make more videos like this in the future, along with my usual edits, art, and community posts. So if you think you'd be interested in any of that, I'd love for you to subscribe and join my community. Once again, I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.